Hook, story intro. He was born an outcast, mocked and abandoned. Yet one man rose from nothing to unite clans, strike fear into enemies, and become one of the most legendary warriors the world has ever known. This is the story of Shaka Zulu, the king who changed the fate of a nation forever, CTA, at the end of the story. If you enjoyed this journey into history, hit that like button, subscribe for more epic stories, and turn on notifications so you never miss a tale of legends. Shaka Zulu was born around 1787 in the rugged hills of southern Africa, but his entrance into the world was far from celebrated. The son of Senzangakona, chief of the Zulu clan, and Nandi, a young woman who had been rejected by the clan, Shaka's birth was surrounded by scandal and tension. From the very beginning, he was an outcast. Many in the Zulu community treated him with disdain, mocking him for being illegitimate and underestimating the boy who seemed destined for struggle. Life in exile was harsh. Shaka and his mother faced constant threats, hunger and social rejection. But rather than breaking him, these early hardships ignited a fire within him. From a young age, Shaka displayed intelligence, determination, and a fierce resilience. He learned quickly that survival required more than strength. It demanded cunning, strategy, and an unyielding will. During these formative years, Shaka wandered the hills and plains, observing warriors and studying the art of battle. He watched how clans fought, how leaders commanded respect, and how fear could be wielded as a weapon. Even as a boy, he began to understand that power was not simply inherited, it had to be earned, and often seized with force and brilliance. Shaka's relationship with his mother, Nandi, also shaped his character. Her courage, wisdom, and relentless perseverance in the face of humiliation taught him lessons he would carry throughout his life. Nandi instilled in him a sense of vision and the belief that one could rise above circumstances, no matter how bleak. By the time Shaka reached adolescence, whispers of his cunning and physical prowess began to spread. Though still young, he was already demonstrating qualities that would one day make him a legend: sharp intelligence, unmatched ambition, and a fearless spirit. He was no longer merely a boy born into shame. He was a storm-gathering strength, preparing to sweep across the lands of southern Africa. Little did anyone know, this outcast child, mocked and underestimated by his own people, would grow into a warrior king whose name would echo through history, forever remembered as Shaka Zulu. After years of hardship and exile, Shaka's life took a dramatic turn. He found a mentor in Dingiswayo, the powerful leader of the Mthethwa clan, who recognized the boy's extraordinary potential. Under Dingiswayo's guidance, Shaka learned the art of leadership, strategy, and discipline. The outcast boy who once wandered the hills in fear now trained to become a warrior capable of commanding loyalty and respect. Shaka's ambition burned brighter than ever. He observed everything: the strengths and weaknesses of enemies, the flow of battle, and the politics of clan leadership. While other young warriors focused on individual prowess, Shaka thought bigger. He envisioned a united Zulu nation, one that could rise above scattered clans and dominate the region. His ideas were radical, and they frightened many, but Shaka knew that fear and respect were powerful tools when wielded wisely. When the time came to return to the Zulu clan, Shaka didn't hesitate. Armed with new knowledge, a sharpened mind, and an iron will, he challenged the existing leadership. Rivals who had once mocked him now trembled at his presence. Through a combination of cunning, diplomacy, and ruthless force, Shaka eliminated opposition and rallied warriors under his banner. His rise was swift, shocking even seasoned leaders. By his mid-20s, Shaka had transformed from a marginalized outcast into the undisputed leader of the Zulu people. He wasn't just a chief. He was a visionary, a tactician, and a force of nature. Loyalty to him was absolute, and his reputation for both brilliance and brutality spread far and wide. But Shaka's ascent was only the beginning. While he had seized power, the challenge ahead was greater, transforming a small, scattered clan into a formidable kingdom, feared by enemies and revered by allies. The journey from leader to legend required more than courage. It demanded strategy, innovation, and the kind of determination that would shake the foundations of southern Africa forever. And so, the young Shaka Zulu stood at the threshold of destiny, ready to reshape history in ways no one could have imagined. Shaka Zulu was no ordinary leader. He was a revolutionary. While other chiefs relied on tradition, Shaka saw a battlefield as a canvas for innovation. He transformed the Zulu army into an unstoppable force, reshaping the very art of war in southern Africa. The first of Shaka's groundbreaking changes was the short stabbing spear, the Ikalwa. Unlike the long spears used by other tribes, the Ikalwa allowed warriors to fight up close, delivering swift, lethal strikes. Paired with large cowhide shields, his soldiers could strike quickly and defend effectively, making the Zulu army both agile and deadly. Shaka didn't stop at weapons. He invented the buffalo horn formation, a tactic that would terrify and crush enemies for generations to come. The main force attacked head-on, while the horns flanked the enemy, encircling them with terrifying precision. It wasn't just brute strength. It was strategy, discipline, and psychology all rolled into one. Training under Shaka was merciless. Warriors endured grueling drills, marching for miles, enduring harsh conditions, and honing their combat skills to perfection. Every soldier became a weapon in Shaka's master plan, capable of executing maneuvers with deadly coordination. Fear was a tool, loyalty a weapon, and every battle became a demonstration of Shaka's genius. Shaka also understood the mind of his enemies. He studied their habits, predicted their movements, and struck when they least expected it. Entire clans were annihilated before they even realized they were under attack. Rumors of his battlefield brilliance spread like wildfire, and the mere mention of Shaka's name caused fear to ripple through the region. By the time he turned 25, Shaka wasn't just a king, he was a legend in motion. His army was an unstoppable storm, his mind a strategic fortress, and his ambition boundless. With innovation, ruthlessness, and sheer brilliance, Shaka Zulu was redefining what it meant to be a warrior. The world would soon learn that this young leader was not just conquering land, he was reshaping history itself. With his genius strategies and relentless warriors, Shaka Zulu transformed from a brilliant military mind into a ruler of a rising empire. But he didn't just want to defend the Zulu clan. He dreamed of uniting the scattered tribes of southern Africa under his banner. And he would stop at nothing to make it happen. Shaka's expansion campaigns were both visionary and terrifying. Clans that resisted were crushed with precision. Those who surrendered were often absorbed into the growing Zulu nation. Villages that once stood independently now found themselves under the disciplined rule of Shaka's warriors. The land began to change, shaped by a combination of loyalty, fear, and Shaka's unyielding leadership. He was a master of both war and politics. Allies were rewarded, enemies eliminated, and neutral tribes carefully observed. Every move was calculated, and Shaka's presence alone became a symbol of power and inevitability. His warriors marched with purpose, striking swiftly and decisively, leaving a trail of awe and fear across the region. The expansion also came with consequences. Entire communities were displaced, and a wave of chaos, later known as the Mfikane, swept through southern Africa. Yet through the turmoil, Shaka's vision of a united, disciplined, and powerful Zulu nation emerged stronger than ever. By consolidating power, he created a kingdom that could rival any in the world. Shaka's reign was a mixture of brilliance and brutality. He was a leader who inspired loyalty and terror in equal measure. Every victory reinforced his legend, every conquest added to his growing empire. And every challenge he faced only strengthened his resolve. By the late 1820s, Shaka Zulu had achieved what few could even imagine, a single, powerful kingdom forged from chaos, fear, and discipline. But as his empire expanded, so did the dangers around him. Allies grew wary, rivals plotted in secret, and even those closest to him began to question whether his ruthless methods would one day become his downfall. The stage was set for Shaka's ultimate test, where brilliance, ambition, and paranoia would collide in ways that would forever change the history of southern Africa. Shaka Zulu had forged an empire, but his brilliance came with a dark side. His rule was as ruthless as it was visionary. Enemies were annihilated without mercy, and even allies lived in constant fear of his temper. The man who united clans with courage and strategy now ruled with iron fists, and whispers of his cruelty spread far and wide. Shaka's paranoia grew with every victory. He feared betrayal from the very people who had once been his closest allies. Advisors, warriors, and even family members became potential threats in his eyes. No one was safe from suspicion. His strict discipline and harsh punishments instilled obedience, but they also planted seeds of resentment. The same fear that made him unstoppable on the battlefield now made him vulnerable at home. The cracks in his reign began to show. His half-brothers, Dingain and Malangana, watched and waited. They knew that if Shaka continued unchecked, his paranoia could destroy the kingdom from within. And so, in 1828, the unthinkable happened. In a brutal act of betrayal, Shaka was assassinated by those closest to him, ending the life of a man whose name had inspired awe and terror across southern Africa. Yet even in death, Shaka's legend could not be erased. His empire remained, his tactics were studied for generations, and his story became immortal, a testament to what one mind, one vision, and one ruthless determination could achieve. Shaka Zulu had conquered more than land. He had conquered history itself. His rise and fall serve as a dramatic reminder. Even the greatest warriors and leaders are shaped by both their brilliance and their flaws. Shaka Zulu's name would live on, a symbol of power, strategy, and the terrifying edge of human ambition. Shaka Zulu's life was a storm of brilliance, ambition, and brutality. Though he died young, his impact on southern Africa was monumental. The kingdom he forged from scattered clans remained powerful, and his military innovations reshaped warfare for generations. His short-stabbing spear, the Iklewa, and the legendary buffalo horn formation became symbols of tactical genius that inspired warriors far beyond his lifetime. But Shaka's legacy wasn't just about weapons or battles, it was about vision. He proved that one man could rise from obscurity, overcome unimaginable odds, and unite a fractured people under a single banner. He showed that leadership requires both courage and cunning, that fear can be a tool as powerful as loyalty, and that ambition, when combined with strategy, can change the course of history. His story also serves as a warning. Shaka's ruthlessness, paranoia, and obsession with control ultimately led to his downfall. Even the greatest visionaries are not immune to the dangers of power. Yet centuries later, his name still evokes respect, awe, and fascination. Shaka Zulu is remembered not only as a warrior, but as a force of nature, a man whose ambition carved an empire and whose legend endures across time. From outcast child to feared conqueror, Shaka Zulu's journey is one of triumph, tragedy, and transformation. He changed the map of southern Africa and etched his name into the annals of history forever.